And good morning, everybody. Just let me know in chat if you can hear me. Make sure we've got our audio sorted out this morning. A few technical problems this morning. So good morning, everybody. I see people coming into chat. Good to see you all. My name is Michal Calhoun. I'm running solo this morning. So good to have you all here. Just drop a wee comment in chat, guys, if you don't mind. Okay, you can hear me. Great. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate. So good morning, everybody. Looking forward to this morning. We've got something a little bit special for you today. I hope you enjoy it. I know I had a lot of fun putting it together. So just who's here this morning? Good morning, Justin. Good to see you. Good morning, Amy. Good morning as well. Good morning, all. Ray. Good morning, Dave, Charlie. And anybody else comes in, I welcome you as well. Great to have you here. What are we here? We're here this morning to talk about your blueprint for 2025. Just a little bit of background, first of all. My name is Michal Calhoun, and I've been working with the Toolbox for the last couple of years now. And I'll help you get sorted with your mindset. What does that mean? It means understanding how you experience the world and how that affects your results. We all know about that monkey mind, don't we? We all know about that voice inside our head when we actually give ourselves a hard time, and sometimes we even praise ourselves with that voice. We also know about how we picture things, how we remember memories from the past, and how we imagine what was going to happen in the future. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that, and what I believe is the most important aspect of mindset, which is goal setting. Because from working in this area for over 30 years now, what I find is the biggest reason that people don't achieve their goals is because they don't have proper goals. And what I wanted to give you today is a very simple and straightforward approach to understanding why people don't achieve their goals, why people don't set goals, and why it's really valuable to have a process that works and has been proven for 30 years. Well, for a lot longer than that, since 84. How long is that? About 40 years. That will really help you to help you to get clear on your goals and to make your goals happen in a more consistent level. And really what it comes down to is understanding the power of the mind. So there's two parts to this introduction. The first part we're going to cover live today, and the second part I'm going to give you as an assignment, a homework to do yourselves, and I look forward to hearing back from you on how you're getting on with your goal setting journal. Now, before we get any further, there is a goal setting journal, a present to future, that you can download for free. So what I'd like to do is make sure that you get a copy of that before we go any further. So this is a physical printed copy. We don't have any of those left. So there is a digital copy. You can get your digital copy from, if I bring it up here for a moment. Just bring it up here. Where's the screen? That's the wrong screen. There we go. So you should be able to see me there. So it's from, if you go to the URL, a present to future, and I'll just drop that in chat as well. So anybody who hasn't already got it, I think some of you may have it. Present to your future. And hopefully that opens up in the correct year. Let me just test it. Yeah, there we go. That's good. So pop over to Present to Your Future and download that PDF. If you want to bring it with you now, if you want to download it now, you can. You'll have it there in your downloads ready to go through later on as we go through the second part, or as you go through the second part. Good morning, Darren. Good morning, Yasser. Good morning, Glenn. Good morning, Charlie. I think it's Charlie. We said hello to you already before. So let's get stuck straight in. So give you a little background on Present to Future. When I first started studying the psychology of the mind and mindset, it was back in 2005, and part of the process that we learn about when learning about the mind is something called the keys to achievable outcomes, and it's a really great process for creating smart goals. However, the key thing I found wasn't actually about the process of writing out smart goals. If you've come across smart goals before, great. If you haven't, you should really check it out. This actually builds the smart goals because it works on it's no point having smart goals if you actually haven't created a space in your mind, first of all, for creating goals. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create an introductory guide, I guess, for people on what they need to do inside their mind before they even start to form those goals. So that's really what this is about. So let's jump into it. So you've got that present to future free download for anybody who wants it. This is a new website we just put up. It's something I've been meaning to do for a couple of years. We normally would do live events, and we give this out at a live event. So delighted to be able to do this online today for you all. Okay, so the question I have today is how to set compelling and exciting goals for the year. That really is the focus. And not just exciting, compelling goals, but goals that you absolutely know you will achieve. And that's the important bit. So if we jump into the questions, like, why are you here? One of the reasons you might be here is because you don't have a goal setting process, or you don't have a structured goal setting process, or you don't know what the best way of doing setting goals. And as somebody said to me a couple of years ago, we're sitting down, we're doing some consultancy together, and we're working out a plan for the year. And he said to me, there's nothing as terrifying as a blank sheet of paper. And I love that phrase, because when you sit down, this is one of the reasons that I love ChatGPT and AI, is if you want to write a blog post, or if you want to write a plan, or if you want to do something new, you take out a blank sheet of paper. Where do you start? You need some sort of a structure. You need something to actually get you started, a framework, a system, a blueprint, something that actually says, okay, this is kind of the rough idea of where we're going. Here's some more detail. Now go and do it. And that makes it so much greater, so much easier, and makes it so much simpler to just have a framework there. So that's exactly what we have with the present to future goal setting journal. It's a framework, it's a blueprint for, number one, getting your mind in the right place, and number two, then actually having a process you can follow that's really simple for setting those goals. So why follow this exact process? Well, first, the question I have for you, and I don't know if I'd love to hear from you in chat. Have you ever set a goal and achieved it? Just type very quickly, guys, in chat. Have you ever set a goal and achieved ever in your whole life? Have you ever set a single goal and you've actually made that goal happen? So yes, or yes, if you actually set a goal and achieved it. If you've ever set a goal and achieved it, I would love to hear from you, right? While we're just waiting for comments to come in. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Steve Lake as well. Ben, hello, how are you doing? Mike, good morning as well. Jason, hello, good to see you again. Nick, Charlie, getting yeses coming in. Yeah, so we know how to set goals, don't we? We know how to set goals and achieve goals, right? So while we're actually, the rest of those answers are coming in, and where there's a bit of a delay between me talking, you speaking, let me ask you the second question. Okay, very, very important question. Okay, the second question is, have you ever set a goal and you didn't achieve that goal? Okay, so different question. What answer do you have for that one? Just type it in chat. Have you ever set a goal and you didn't achieve that goal? Right? And for me, I can tell you for a fact, especially before learning about all this, that was a big fat yes as well for that one. So are we getting yeses coming in? There you go. So yes, of course. So type yes in chat, and a big capital yes, yes from Justin. So here's the thing. So you know how to set goals. You have set goals in the past and you have achieved them, but you've also set goals and you didn't achieve them, right? So that makes sense. So the question really is, how do you set goals consistently? What is the secret to achieving goals that you achieve every time you set them? Right? When you actually sit down and say, okay, I really want to make this goal happen, what is the process that you go through? What is the thinking you go through? What is the ideas you go to? What is the checklist you go to say, okay, this goal is a goal worth setting, first of all. And second of all, how confident am I that this goal is going to happen? And that's really what present to future is. It's about taking an idea in the future, imagining something's going to happen in the future, and giving that as a present to you presently to say, yes, I want this to happen. I know the process of what I need to go to, and I'm willing to do what it takes to make that happen. And that is the secret to goal achievement. It's about how to set goals and achieve them consistently. I don't know if you can see the last word there because my face is in the way, so I'll just remove my face for a couple of minutes. Okay. So So how do we do that? Now, so what we're going to do today is, this is fairly short introduction. I'm hoping to get this done in the next 45 minutes, so in around 6:30. So I'll let you get on with your day. So what I'm doing is we're covering the first section on your mind, which I think is the important bit, pages 9 to 17 of the book. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to let you go off and do the second part yourself. And if you need help, then I've got something that I might help you to actually get clear on the goals part of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just focus on the first part today, get you a little bit of taste of what's going on here. If you like this, then I can talk to you about a potential next step if you want a little bit of help with your goals as we go forward. Okay, so with that, let's get started. I hope everybody's excited. So let's get started. So for me, we're going to start on page 9. I don't know if you has anybody downloaded the PDF, or maybe people are driving, maybe people can't actually use the desktop to download the PDF. Just type PDF if you already have downloaded the PDF, or you already have the PDF from a presenttofuture.com. Just so I know, and make sure that people have got the link. The link is working okay, and that I'm not referring to wrong pages or anything like that. So you can do my homework for me. You can make sure that I'm actually referring to the correct pages. Okay, yeah. Okay, yes, people have got PDF. Thank you. Wonderful. That's great. So thanks, Ray. Thanks, Justin. So the PDF, there's a little bit of information. This book, if you look at the copyrights in the first pages too, see the first edition was actually 2005, second edition 2011, third edition 2018. So I've been kind of evolving this, and we've totally revamped the website this year. We're going to do a new version based on your feedback. What we're doing is we add more components, more useful information, more stories into this as we go through the year. So there's a fantastic story on page 13, which is, I'll give you a little background about that another time. But there's a YouTube video there that you can watch about change and the importance of change, how powerful change is. So let's start with page 9. And this is the beginning. Page 9, section 1, the secret of successful goal setting. Really what we want to do is we want to understand that the process of goal setting isn't just writing down a list and saying we're done now. It's about thinking, it's about believing, it's about dreaming, and it's about daring, and it's about doing. You want to think about the values you want to live your life by. You want to believe in yourself based on those values. Then you want to dream big. You want to imagine what the world could be like. You have no idea what it's going to be like. No one does. And then you want to dare to make that dream become true. And that is the important part. You want to aim higher. You want to set ambitions for yourself that actually go beyond just saying, I'm going to turn up in the morning, go to work. We have to have a reason to get up in the morning. If we need to have a reason to get out of bed, we need to have a reason to set goals, because that is actually an important part of the process, because that motivates us. That gets us to the point where we say, yeah, I want to focus on this goal. I want to make it happen. I want to be ambitious, and I want to make a difference in my life and the lives of other people as well. So, good stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the 7 secrets first of all. That's page 10. And these 7 secrets, I literally could spend a full day just talking about these 7 secrets. So these 7 secrets are really 7 things to consider before you even start thinking about your goal. So 7 rules, 7 ways of it's like a checklist to say, if you've got these 7 secrets in order, then that means you're actually going to have a better chance of making your goals happen in the first place. So let's go through. The first one is clarity. No negatives. Now, what do I mean by negatives? I don't mean negative or bad language or anything like that. What I'm talking about here is say it the way you want it. So when I listen to people talking about goals, sometimes people say, "What's your goal for the year?" Well, I don't want to be poor, or I want to lose weight. Okay, so these are 2 great examples, right? So if somebody says to you, I don't want to be poor, what are they thinking about? Well, they're thinking about the words in the sentence, and the words in the sentence, like poor, creates an image of poverty. Think about, I want to lose weight. If you say to yourself, I want to lose weight, what's the picture that creates in your mind when you say lose weight? You have to think about weight, and then you have to think about that weight going away. So you're actually picturing yourself not in your ideal form. So there are negative pictures or negative representations of yourself. So one of the biggest problems I see with people is they actually say what they don't want instead of saying what they do want. So instead of saying I don't want to be poor, says, well, I like to bring abundance into my life. Instead of saying I lose weight, what you want to do instead is you want to think about, well, I want to look my ideal weight, or I want to look the best version of myself. I want to look amazing this time next year. So you want to picture the positive side of what you want, not trying to get away from the negative side of this. And in my master, we talk a lot about this. We talk about the two different types of motivation. We talk about repulsive goals, or repulsive away from motivation. We talk about attractive goals or towards motivation. So essentially the difference between them is towards motivation or attractive goals are goals that attract you to what you want. It's the positive outcome you want. And repulsive goals then are goals where you're trying to get away from something you don't want. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be in a bad place. And the problem with that is that your mind, your unconscious mind, cannot process the idea of a negative word. Not something. So whether you say it's positive or negative, you're still creating a picture that you're trying to get away from. So if you say I don't want to be overweight, you're still creating a picture of being overweight and then trying to get away from it. So say it the way you want it. That's really important. And that's one of the big mistakes. So make sure when you think about your goals, the goal is something that's going to bring joy and abundance to your life. So people say, I want to make lots of money. Why? Why do you want to make lots of money? So I'm not in debt, so I can pay my bills, so I'm not actually stressing out. See how it works? So what's your reason for having this outcome? If your reason for outcome might sound positive, but if your reason why is to get away from what is not positive, then what you have is you've got a repulsive goal. And that won't work. You'll actually end up having cycles and getting pulled back to the very, very thing you're trying to get away from. So we want attractive goals. We don't want repulsive goals. Okay, very important. The second one, compelling. It has to be compelling for you. So when you think about your goals, it has to be attractive towards you and it has to be exciting. One of the things that one of the people in our mastermind said recently is, I just realized my goals are boring. Well, if your goals are boring, you're not going to be very excited about actually making them happen. So your goals should make a difference in your life. It should make a difference to you personally. It should make a difference to the people around you. And it should make a difference to the planet. In other words, it should impact the world in a positive way. When you leave this mortal coil, in whatever time that is in the future, the goals should make the world, you should leave the world in a better place than it is right now. It should have a positive impact in the world. And if you have a positive impact and it's good for you, the people around you and the planet, then those goals are what we call ecological goals. Ecological goals will be compelling because they're exciting to see them happen. If you make a difference to the world, make a difference to your family, make a difference to yourself, you will be compelled to take action and make those goals happening. So you really want to make your goals compelling. Very important. Okay, which means they must be motivating to you. Now, one of the things I hear people saying is, I want to set goals. It's quite a long time ago. I think people know this one. This is probably a more obvious one. It wasn't always. So people say to me, I want to give up smoking. I remember years ago, a guy said, I want to go give up smoking. I want you to help me to give up smoking. He says, great. We can do some hypnosis. We can basically, we can get you to create the illusion that every time you're actually putting a cigarette to your mouth, you're actually putting something really disgusting in your mouth, and you'll revolt to the idea of it, and you won't want to go near a cigarette. So we can do some hypnosis around that. But let me ask you a question first. Why do you want to give up smoking? Because my wife can't stand the smell of them. Now, is that a goal that's for the person, or is it a goal for somebody else? That's somebody else's goal. If somebody wants you to do something, that's motivating for them. It's not motivating for you. So it needs to be personal to you. Your goals are yours. No, they're not nobody else's. Everybody else can do their own goals, but you need to goals that are personal to you. And you need to ask, this is like the first question, you need to ask, why do you want this goal? What's the purpose and what's your intention of having this goal? Again, this goes back to the previous ones, compelling and motivating, because you want goals that are actually compelling and motivating to you. So you need to ask the question, why is this important? What's the difference it's going to make? Is it ecological? Is it positive? Is it going to be something that You don't want boring goals, right? At the end of the day, if your goals are exciting to you, they're going to be exciting to other people as well. Okay, I'm just going to knock down the volume a bit. So we're just peaking a little bit there. Okay, so we need to ask, what is the purpose of achieving the goal? And this is the big one. We need to act with certainty. Now, there's a very, very important process on, let me see what page it is. 22 is the most important page. If you actually just want to maybe put a circle around 22 or a little star on the top. Oh, you can't because you haven't got it printed. Just try and take a note. 22, page 22. That's the magic number. Everybody write page 22. Write it in chat right now. Page 22. So anybody comes along for replay says, what the hell's on page 22? And I've got you to do the one thing I want you to do. I want you to be able to walk away with here with an understanding of page 22, because that is the page that makes your goals certain. This is really, really important. Please type page 22 in chat, please. Thank you. Great stuff. Page 22. Wonderful. So what does page 22 give you? I'm not going to do this today, but I want you to make sure you understand that your goals you have to act as if they're certain. All this 22 is coming in here right now. That's great. You have to have certainty about your goals. And what does that mean? Like some people say to me, well, I'm not certain that a goal is going to happen. No, it's not as if you're certainly going to happen. It's about your thinking about the goals. It's called acting as if it's certain. And when I say acting as if, I'm not talking about pretending. I'm not making it up. I'm saying only set goals that you're certain you can achieve. And there's two ways to do that, and which is the focus of page 22. The two ways to do that. Number one is if you don't believe you can achieve your goals, you've got two options. You can either lower your standards so you know you can achieve that, which is a challenge, because if you lower your standards, your goals probably won't be as exciting. Or you can remove the obstacles that prevents you being certain. Maybe it's because you've got fear, maybe you've got anxiety, maybe you've got doubts, maybe you've got, you tried to make this goal happen before and you got hurt, or you feel guilty because it might actually, you don't want to be selfish, you want to spend too much time on working on your goals, so you focus on other people's goals. It's called a job, by the way, working on other people's goals. So if you do all that and you're not certain, there's obstacles in the way. There's obstacles in your thinking that is preventing you from actually achieving the goals you actually want to achieve. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we go through this process to make sure we're 100% certain we can make it happen. And there's some questions we can ask about that on page 22. So we'll come back to page 22 later on. I just want to remind you that if you are not certain your goals will happen, they won't happen. And here's why. Here's the reason why. Let's say you have a goal of adding an extra 50,000 to your business this year. Okay. And you say, okay, I've got an extra 50,000 to add to my business because I'm going to be putting more systems in place. Maybe I'm going to take on some more subcontractors. Maybe I'm going to be, I might be taking on a new lease in the van, or I might be getting new tools, or I might be doing more training courses. I might be doing some more mentoring or coaching, something like that. So you've got some ideas where you want to invest in your business and have your business grow. Now, if you put a process in place to make an extra 50 grand this year in your business, or 100 grand or a million, whatever it is for you, if you put a process in place and you're certain you can make that process happen, you can make the business grow by that amount. Now, you don't know that, but you're acting as if it's certain. You will make better decisions to enforce the outcome of you making those goals happen. Does that make sense? If you're certain about the process, you're more likely to make decisions that realize that certainty. But if you say, well, I might make an extra 50 grand, I might make an extra 100 grand, but I'm not really sure. So then what happens is you don't even put in action the steps to bring in that money. So then you're not going to commit to things that actually requires that money to come in, which means you're less likely to make it happen in the first place. So it's almost like a reinforcement. What you do is you don't take the action to get the results because you're not sure if the results are going to happen. Therefore, you don't take the action. Therefore, you don't get the results. So you literally end up talking yourself out of the actions you would need to take to make the goals happen. Okay, this is in NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, which is what we focus on in our mindset. In our masterminds, we call this future pacing. So what's future pacing? Future pacing is actually going out to the future and imagining what would happen if everything worked out perfectly. Okay, and then looking for all the things that you need to put in place and getting a lot of detail about that future version of yourself. future version of your goals. So when you future pace, what you're doing is you're acting with certainty as if it's definitely going to happen, and you're creating a very vivid picture of that outcome and how your life would be different and all the consequences of your life being different, because you've taken that first step of imagining a future. Now, what most people do is they give it 2 seconds of a thought, and they've got a very fuzzy picture. It doesn't have a lot of focus, so which means it doesn't have a lot of motivation, it doesn't have a lot of direction. So one of the reasons people come to me is because they say, I've got no focus in life. I don't feel like I have any direction. I'm just kind of turning up for the job and doing stuff. Can you help me to get more focus and direction? And what I'll do is I'll literally pull up this, right? I'll literally pull up this and I'll say to them, guys, what you need, if you don't have focus or direction in your life, right? If you're not compelled to get out in the morning, it's because you don't have goals. You don't have goals that helps you have focus and direction. Because think about it. What does focus and direction actually mean? To have focus and direction, you need to have a picture that you're focused on in your mind. So a picture that you're focused on in your mind, if that picture is clear and compelling, you will have focus. If you never think about the future, you won't have focus, which means you won't have direction towards that picture, that outcome, that goal. So the process of actually having focus and direction in your life is about setting goals. And that's why we have a process for you to follow. So you don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel. You don't have to look at a blank sheet of paper and say, oh my God, where do I start? Do I make a list? Do I do a picture? Do a visualization? What's the process? We're giving you the process. The process on page 22, the whole lot is there. But you need to get your mindset sorted out, first of all, to make sure you can make all of that happen. Okay? So acting with certainty, and also you need to believe 100% it's going to happen. So if you believe 100% your goals are going to happen, you will take actions to reinforce the outcome of those goals happening. Does that make sense? And finally, this is the one that probably is the clincher for some people. You have to give energy to your goals. Where your attention flows, your energy goes. So what that means is your goals have to be exciting. You have to bring them to life. You have to take that picture you have of the future and make it into a movie, make it realistic, make it attractive, and bring energy into that outcome so that you actually feel excited about it when you think about your goals. You put all that together and you already have more certainty about making your goals happen. If you found that useful, guys, please give me some feedback here. Is that something you already know, or did you get any insights from that? I would love to hear from you. Just put a little, what's your biggest takeaway? Which number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is it 7? 7. Which one is the biggest takeaway for you? Just type a number in chat. Is it number 1? Is it 2? Number 1 is clarity. Number 2 is make it compelling. Make sure you've got the last step. We'll go back and talk about the last step in a second. Is it motivating for you? Is it understanding your purpose? Why do you want this goal to happen? Because if you don't know why, you might be actually setting repulsive goals. That's an important one. Acting with certainty is that one. That's number 5. Number 6 is you need to 100% believe in your goal. Or number 7, you need to bring energy, because where energy goes, your attention flows. So which is the biggest takeaway there of those ones? We've seen numbers starting to come in there. Great, guys. Thanks very much. So we'll have a look back at those in a couple of seconds. So hopefully that's useful for you for starters. So if you just applied these 7 secrets, right? If you just apply these 7 secrets, you're already going to raise the bar on your goal setting process, right? Without doing anything else. So what I want you to do is take this away with you and use this before you set down goals. Take the sheet out and look at these 7 and say, okay, as I think about my goal, do I have clarity about it? Is it actually a positive goal I want? Is it compelling? Is it motivating? Does it have purpose? Am I certain I can make it happen? Can I imagine what it would be like if I was to make this happen? Do I believe I can make it happen and give it energy to it? Let's talk about number 2 for a second. Making it compelling. How do you make your goals compelling? Okay. Oh, we've got a question. That's literally something that somebody's put in chat. Justin, number 2, how do you make it compelling? The way you make your goals compelling is a 2-step process. Okay. The first process is you need to think about what is the last step that needs to happen before your goals happen. What's the last step? Let me give you an example. Let's say I have a goal of going to Dubai in the next year. Okay, so what my goal is, I want to go to Dubai, and I actually want to experience Dubai. Never been to Dubai, know a lot of people in Dubai, but I just never had the opportunity to go to Dubai. And the reason I haven't had an opportunity to go to Dubai is because I haven't set a goal to go to Dubai. Now, if I was to if you were to ask me, how would you know you're definitely going to Dubai? What was the last thing that needs to happen? What's the last step where if that was to happen, you'd say, yeah, I'm definitely going to Dubai? Like for some people, say, well, if I book the tickets, I'm definitely going. Okay. So for somebody else, it'd say, when I land on the airport and I get that blast of heat, you know, when you land in a holiday destination, and when you get to that destination, you get off the plane and you walk down the tarmac and you get the blast of heat and you can smell the tarmac of the airport and a nice holiday location. For some people, that's the last step, is that blast of heat and say, yes, I've landed in my holiday destination. But for other people, it's actually getting to the hotel. For somebody else, it might be going to the bar and having a drink. For somebody else, it might be going to the pool. For other people, their last step isn't actually going on the holiday. Their last step is actually when they come home and they show people the photographs they've taken. Look at me, I've had a wonderful time on my holiday. For them, that's the last step. Now, for me, the last step is actually being in one of the scenes. It's actually being in one of the locations that isn't anywhere else in the world except that location. So for me, if I was to set a goal of going to Dubai, the last step would be actually being in the Khalifa. The Burj Khalifa, the tallest hotel, the tallest building in the world, the what's it called, the 7-star hotel, which is, I think it's like 1 kilometer high, it's so 1,000 meters or something like that. So it's the tallest building in the world. So if I actually was to go to the Burj Khalifa and look out the building and see the view of Dubai, for me that would be the last step. Now, can you see how everybody will have a different last step, right? And my last step is very compelling because for me, I already know what the Burj Khalifa looks like, but I can't imagine standing at the top of the Burj Khalifa and looking out over the scenery of the city of Dubai and seeing the lights twinkle at night time. It would be just such an amazing scene for me to experience that. So in my mind, that's already compelling, right? So to make your goals compelling, there's 2 things you need. The first thing is you need the last step. The last step needs to be exciting for you, right? Okay, which this one is for me. The second thing you need to do is to make the last step more compelling, is you actually need to tweak the picture inside your head. So what I want you to do, guys, I want you just to think of any goal you want to achieve this year. Right? And right now, ask yourself, what was the last step that if you were to achieve that goal, you'd know that goal is happening? What's the last thing that needs to happen before the goal actually happens, right? So if that's happening, yeah, it's here, it's happened, it's the last step, my goal has come true, right? Now, what I want you to do then is I want you to close your eyes. Unless you're driving, if you're driving, don't close your eyes, needless to say. But I want you to imagine for a moment that last step. And I want you to bring to your awareness that you have a picture in your mind of that last step, right? And I want you to notice if that picture is actually a really colorful picture or it's kind of a dull picture. What's the contrast like? Is there a lot of contrast, or is it all very much the same sort of colors? Is it bright or is it dim? Is it kind of like it feels very distant, or does it actually feel really close up to your face and it feels very realistic? Notice if this picture, this last step, is it moving? Is it like a little clip, like an Instagram reel or a short or TikTok? Is it like something that's repeating, or is it just a frozen picture, a picture that's not moving? I want you to notice all of that, right? And some people say, well, I don't really make pictures. Believe me, we all make pictures. The question is whether you're aware of it. And this is one of the things we focus on a lot, is about becoming more aware of what's happening inside your head. So if you don't have a very clear picture at the moment, that's fine. It's not supposed to be as clear as reality, but I want you just to notice that picture as you notice it today. And on a scale of 1 to 10, just type in the chat, just the last step. I'm going to type in last step here, just so I know. How clear is that picture on a scale of 1 to 10? Is it like super bright, super compelling, super exciting for you? Give it a 10. And if it's like, I'm not even aware of a last step, it's like very hard to really kind of be aware of it, put a 1 in there, or somewhere in between. So that last step for you, how bright, how compelling, how as you think about the picture, are there any sounds involved in that picture? Are there no sounds at all? How compelling is it? So give me a score between 1 and 10 on how compelling that picture is right now. I just want to wait for that to come in there. So while you're actually thinking about that and putting a number into chat, what I'd like you to do is now I want you to take that picture in your mind and I want you to actually change the picture. What I want you to do is I want you to imagine you could make that picture bigger. I want you to make that picture brighter. right? I want you to imagine you can hear more. You can hear more detail. Maybe you can hear voices in that picture. Great stuff, numbers coming in there now. So I want you to imagine you can hear more voices in the picture. I want you to notice, do you have any feeling inside your body as you think, like a feeling of excitement or motivation as you think about that last step? Some great numbers coming in there now. So what I want you to do is I want you to change the picture now and to turn up the volume. Remember that back in the old days you'd have a television and there's like dials at the bottom for changing the brightness and the contrast and changing the sharpness of the picture. What I want you to do is imagine you go inside your mind and there's dials under your picture, and turn up the dials and adjust the dials so the picture, you can stretch the picture out and make it wider. So instead of having a small TV screen, you've got a much bigger TV screen in your mind. Or if it's a still picture, make it into a movie, play with it. Or, add sounds to it, turn up the sound, add more people to it, maybe if that makes it more compelling. Or if it makes it less compelling, take the people away and make it more silent. Just play with it. Just have fun to see what's happening inside your head as you take that picture and you play with it, right? Is there any feelings inside you? Right? Make those feelings bigger. So maybe you got a feeling in the middle of your stomach or maybe in your throat. Try moving it around and making those feelings bigger. Maybe have the feeling spin. Get that feeling of excitement. Have it spin inside your tummy so it actually feels more exciting. And see if that makes it more compelling. So what I want you to do is focus on doing things by changing the properties, what we call the submodalities of that picture, the submodalities of the feeling, the submodalities of the sounds, to make that picture more compelling. Okay? And now as you think about your picture, notice that it has become more compelling. And now type in chat, what is your score? Is your score gone from 8 to a 9? Has it gone from 2 to a 3 to up 3 to a 5? How has it changed just by the process of taking that last step and actually physically changing that picture inside your mind and making it bigger and brighter? Maybe take that picture in your mind and bring it right up to your face. So if your picture's out here, bring it right up to your face and make it bigger. So it's like you're almost in the picture. Right? So these are all things you can do to adjust the properties of the picture. Most people just accept the pictures that they have in their mind. They don't realize that you're driving the bus, you're driving the vehicle that is in your mind. You can change those pictures in your mind. And likewise, if you had something you didn't like, something that was a trauma from the past, you could take that picture and make it further away and dark and just push it away from you so it is less compelling for you. So we can use this to do all sorts of magical changes. And this is the power of your mind. Most people never use the power of their mind because they don't know they can. So just type in chat, if you've made any changes at all to the picture, just type down the new score. If you made any changes at all to the picture inside your mind, just type in the new score there. Because what I want you to show you guys is that by just doing very, very simple things, by just playing with thoughts inside your head, the picture inside your head, the feelings inside your body, and the sounds that are associated with that picture, you can make that picture more compelling. So if you're struggling to make pictures compelling, that's a two-step process. Number one, think about the last step. And number two, change the properties of the picture inside your mind. Make it more compelling. Bring it closer and make it a movie. So I'm hoping you're finding that useful. Okay, just type in chat there, new pic before you answer that. New picture. How is that different? Is that a higher score? If it is, put it in chat. Right, does that make sense? Is that useful, guys? Okay. I don't want to labor this too long because we have a lot of other things to talk about. The next section I want to talk about, just while I'm waiting for you to type in chat there, is a very, very important process. And it's about what happens when you set goals. Now, this is something that I've been sharing since about 2018, since what, about 37 years now. And I think this is really helps people to really understand their goals they create inside their mind and understands why a lot of people don't achieve their goals. Great stuff. So what I want to do is I want to go through the next process, and this is something you might want to come back to and watch maybe a couple of times, because this particular part here is really about understanding how people create problems in their mind in the exact same way if we managed to change the picture by changing the last step, make it more compelling. In the exact same way, people can create a lot of negative thinking, and these create obstacles that stop people getting their goals. So understanding this is the key to actually making your goals happen. So I want to go through this next. So what we're talking about here is what happens when you set goals. And I have to be honest here, guys. I want to get ready from some hard truths here. I don't want to be just all happy clappy here today. I want you to achieve your goals. I want you to be successful. I want you to have more focus and direction, because I want everybody to improve the quality of their life. My mission for everybody is to aim higher. And aim higher for me means three things. A stands for ambition. Stands for impact, and AIM stands for mastery. I want you to have more ambition, to make an impact in the world, and to master what you do. And if you do those three things, you're aiming higher, you have more ambition, you're going to have a better life. So what I want to do is I want to get you prepared for some hard truths about goals and what happens when most people set goals. And I want to give you some keys then of what you can do to change this. So what I'm saying to you is, you might not feel good when you go to this section. This might be a little bit of a hard truth for you. And like, I'm not going to say I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because you need to know this. And if you know this, that's going to make the difference. That's the difference that's going to make the difference for your future. And this is really, really important. So pay attention. What have we got? Okay, so imagine you're setting goals. So this is you, and this is your goal. Okay, so just football symbolizing a goal at the moment. Okay, so when you set a goal, the first step is where you are right now, and your last step we just talked about. The last step is how you know that goal has happened. Now, between the first step and the last step, time has to pass. Okay, so there is a pathway or a journey or a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Okay, very important in NLP. We talk about the present state is your first step, and your desired state is your last step. So there's a journey that you need to go through, and that journey, you could think of it like there's a portal. You jump through this portal, and time passes, and then you get to your last step. Okay, so I'm calling it portal. It's not a portal. I'm just making that up, but it's just a way I can refer to it later on. This blue pipe, this blue connection between the first step and last step is all the things that need to happen for you to achieve your goal. So that's the portal. That is the journey you're going through. So that journey, when you set your goal, first of all, that journey is really clear, right? You've got a path forward. You have a series of steps that you need to take in order to make that goal happen. Okay. And I call that portal, that's a portal I call time. So time has to pass. Things need to happen. You need to take actions. You need to have motivation. You need to have purpose. You need to have a process. You need help. You need people around you to help that happen. So that portal, what happens to that portal is we put constrictions and limitations on ourselves, a little bit like you put elastic bands. Imagine you put these elastic bands around this pipe, this like soft pipe, this portal that goes from A to B. So the constrictions and limitations are basically gremlins inside your head. You know, that little voice goes, no, you can't do this, or no, you're not good enough, no, you can never be this good. All the things you say to yourself when you're giving out stuff, that monkey mind, they're what I call the gremlins. So I've got these little gremlins here. So one of the gremlins is, I'm scared. What happens if I'm afraid to make this happen. Maybe it's too big a goal. Maybe I make a fool of myself. So I'm scared to even take the first step. That's a gremlin. It's not real. The goal will become real if you make it happen. But the gremlins aren't real. That's just the monkey mind. That's the negative talk inside your mind. And that's one of the things we focus on clearing up in our mastermind, in our groups, and in our trainings. It's like, how do you get rid of these gremlins? Another one might be, what if I'm wrong? Well, I can't be certain because I'm wrong. Well, imagine if you thought everything you did was wrong, you'd never do anything. You wouldn't have goals. So you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe that I'm right. But first you got to get rid of the gremlin, I'm wrong, before you can actually believe in yourself that I'm right. Or maybe you're saying, what if I'm a failure? What if I fail? Right? I'm not going to set a goal because I might fail. Well, let me tell you something for a fact, guys. Anybody who's ever achieved anything in their life, they've failed. And if you've never failed in life, that means you've never actually done anything exciting or risky. You've never set proper goals in life if you've never failed in life. So failure is part of life. In fact, you learn from your failures, because every time you learn from your failure, say, okay, I'm not a failure. I just haven't figured it out yet. When Edison created the first light bulb, incandescent light bulb, he did something 1,000 experiments that didn't work before he figured out how to get a light bulb that didn't actually burn out within a couple of minutes. And people would say to him, why do you keep doing these experiments? Why did you failed an awful lot. He says, no, I haven't failed. I've just figured out 1,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. And if I keep going, I'll find it. And eventually he did. And now we have light bulbs. So we've got even different ones now. We've got the low-powered ones. But for 100 years, we used the incandescent light bulb as invented by Edison, and that was because of thousands of experiments he did that went wrong until he found out the one that went right. So there is no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. But these gremlins, these are the things we say inside ourselves that actually stop us from getting clear on our goals. So your gremlins are obstacles that weigh you down. And the net effect is you feel resistance when you focus on your goals. You feel your opportunities are shrinking because they are. Watch carefully. See, the pipe is getting smaller as you get more gremlins. More stuff happens. More I'm scared, more I'm wrong, and more I'm a failure. And eventually what happens, that whole pipe gets constricted like a blocked water pipe. And then what happens is you get a block, right? And you get a block and you say, oh, I'm not doing that again. And you get new stuff. And what happens is you get that red dot there, which actually stops you from going from where you are to where you want to be. And you get sad. The guy on the left now is sad because he can't achieve his goals. And that's why people don't achieve their goals. It's not that they don't know how to achieve goals. We know that. Everybody said, yes, I know. We've set goals and achieved it. It's because you have blocks, you have obstacles that stops you from getting your goal. And what happens is you give up on your goals and you close the door on your dreams. You say, oh no, this is terrible. And it sucks. I'm not trying to laugh at this, guys. This is real. Everybody goes through this. The bigger your goals, the harder you fall. If you play big games, you're going to have big problems. So when you actually set goals and those goals don't work out, it's going to hurt. And if you give up on your dreams and you never go out and do this again, you're missing out the opportunity of learning all the lessons you need to learn to make it happen more likely next time. And this is the reality of goals for more people. People set big goals. It turns out to be expensive, takes up energy. They get tired, they get burnt out, and then they give up and they never try again. The reality is that you don't know if you're 2 steps away from making that goal happen. Good morning, James. You don't know if you're 2 steps away from making that goal happen. So you need to learn the lessons you need to learn and go back and do it again and figure out what are the lessons to make that happen. So what happens is when you give up on your goals and you close the door, all the gremlins go to sleep. But this is the important part. They don't go away. They just go to sleep. Okay? Right? And that means the block is still there, but you don't notice it anymore. So that's kind of like, it's still there, it's just out of reach. The block's out of the reach. And most importantly, the gremlins that you come across on that journey, they're still there, but you're not aware of them because you're in comfort zone. Think about this. When you're in your comfort zone, when you're doing things that are safe, you're not pushing boundaries, you don't have any gremlins because there's no gremlins there. People say to me, you know, every time I set goals, fear comes up for me. Of course it does, because it's not comfortable setting goals, right? Talking about goals is one thing. Actually committing to a goal and making it happen is something very, very different. So the world seems peaceful again when you give up on your goals, only you set a new goal. But the obstacles are already there, you can't see them. So now what happens, as soon as you set a new goal, an even bigger goal, what happens? The old stuff gets activated. All these gremlins, they just wake up. They're already there. They're just lurking in the background. They come straight up in your face like, oh my God, I can't do this. Because now you're saying the same thing you said before. So the question is, if these gremlins keep coming up for people, how does anybody achieve goals? Well, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing it. And I'm going to talk about the wrong way first of all. This is what most people do. What they do is they use motivation. So motivation are like balloons that lift you up. Watch this, animation is going to lift you up. And that helps to keep the goals open. So if you imagine all these constrictions on your goals, the balloons actually acts as like a counterweight to the gremlins weighing you down. So the gremlins are weighing you down and the balloons are lifting you up. And they're keeping that portal open. And there's lots of ways of creating motivation, like working out, like focusing great, like motivation. You go to somewhere, you go to a concert and you feel motivated. Or you go to the gym and feel, oh, I feel really powerful. Or you just focus on pushing through, you use determination. But that's not the best way of actually making it happen. Because the thing is, there's 2 types of motivation. There's what I call extrinsic motivation. Now, this is slightly different meanings depending who you talk to, but for the purpose of this exercise, extrinsic motivation is motivated from other people and things. People, places, and things. So working out, focusing great, going to motivation events, these things you do to get motivated are all intrinsic motivation, so they wane, they actually kind of die off. What we want to focus on is intrinsic motivation that comes from inside your body, the feelings you get when you think about your goals. If your goals are compelling, if you have a last step, if you've got clarity, if you understand purpose, then the goal becomes an intrinsic motivator. You get motivated from what's happening inside your mind, inside your body. You feel excited about your goals. So that's the process of goal setting and visualization. So most people, the way they make goals happen is through just focus and grit, and they force it. They just push hard against their own limitations, their own gremlins. But the reality is, if you could possibly remove those gremlins, you'd be naturally motivated, and that makes the goals happen much easier. So what happens is, the problem with these balloons, this extrinsic motivation, the wrong type of motivation, or away from motivation, as we call it in our academy, is that it takes energy to keep this motivation inflated. So after about 3 weeks, the air starts to leak from our motivation. And this is the reason most people give up after about 3 weeks. So you ever say you set a New Year's resolution and 3 weeks later say, whatever, it's like, it's not going to happen. The reason it doesn't happen is because people haven't taken the time and attention to really think about the outcomes they want, the goals they want, to get motivated, excited and compelled. They haven't thought about the last step. So what they're doing is they're relying on the motivation that comes from watching a motivation video that James puts on in the morning, or going to an event and get everybody together and we're all excited. Yes, it's good to be around exciting events. It's good to focus and it's good to have determination. But if it's not in here, if the goal's not in here in the first place, it's not in your heart, it doesn't have clarity, you won't be motivated after a couple of weeks. It could be 3 days, it could be 3 weeks, it could be 3 months. Write in chat, guys. Tell me, how long does it take you to get demotivated typically? Does it take 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months before usually you say, this is too much, I can't do this, or I just give up on my goals? I'm really curious, what is it? Is it 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months? So just type in chat, 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months before you normally lose that extrinsic motivation. Are you always motivated? So as you're waiting for that to come in, we'll move on here. So what happens is when the air blows out of the balloon, when the balloon just shrinks down. You ever see McDonald's? In McDonald's, if you ever get like a Happy Meal, sometimes they bring balloons out for kids for their birthdays. And you get this balloon and it's got this kind of plastic stick. And usually what happens when our kids are small is the balloon would actually go in the sitting room. It'd be left in the sitting room and it'd be forgotten about. And then after about 3 weeks, it just shrinks down into a small little balloon and it goes flat. Now, the same thing happens for people's motivation, is that if they use an extrinsic motivation away from motivation, then the air runs out of their motivation after about 3 weeks. Or 3 days or 3 months or whatever it is. So that's a sign that you're using repulsive goals. You're using negative goals. You're using goals that under the surface, they're lurking goals that are actually not positive for you. They're actually trying to get away from something negative. Or there's some fear there, or there's some doubts there. And one of the things we do with our students is we help them to eliminate those fears, eliminate those doubts. Okay. So what happens is we give up on our dreams again. So these get all activated and it stops happening. So how do people achieve big goals? They remove the obstacles. That's how people achieve big goals. They get rid of fear. They get rid of uncertainty, doubts, anger, sadness, hurt, guilt. And you can, if these things are actually lurking in the past, you've had an experience in the past and you had fear or you had uncertainty or something happened, you got really angry. And that event is over, it's done with, finished with. And you're back in your comfort zone, but you haven't cleared up these negative emotions, these unresolved negative emotions. What happens is they get reactivated every time you set your goals. So, or just lack of belief. So what we want to do is we want to remove these. So each of these gremlins are represented by those words in the previous page. So if we were to remove those obstacles, what happens is it opens up the conduit again, because we're using intrinsic motivation, and that intrinsic motivation causes flow. And that's really the key, the secret to creating goals, is that when you create goals that are compelling and you remove the obstacles, you create flow. And flow is the thing that allows goals to happen with ease. And it is possible. A lot of people say, that's not possible. It is. I've been teaching this for nearly 20 years. It'll be 20 years actually this year, I believe. Yes, 20 years since I did my first training in 2005. So for 20 years, I've shown people that when you remove the obstacles and you focus on intrinsic motivation, goal setting, visualization, and you focus on your mindset, your goals happen with flow. It becomes natural. It becomes exciting for you, and it happens without a lot of effort. It's because it almost seems like it's already happened. You're just waiting for time to catch up. Okay, so one of the things about that is to understand how this works is we need to understand we have two minds. I mean, two minds about this, people say. Yes, but you're actually not thinking about the two minds. You have a rational mind, or what's called your logical mind. This is the mind that also gives out to you, has the monkey mind, but also the mind used to work out sensible, logical things. Right? Rational things, working out numbers, working out logic, figuring out puzzles, Sudoku, things like that. That's your rational mind. So the rational mind is a faithful servant, but the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. So the intuitive mind is your unconscious. This is the part of the mind that actually gets the goals. Your rational mind is what sets the goals. You want to rationally sit down and work out your goal. But then when you understand flow, understand this intrinsic motivation, your intuitive mind will make that goal happen. We have created a society that has honored the servant, the rational mind, and has forgotten the gift, the intuitive mind. That's a quote from Albert Einstein. So don't take my word for it, take his word for it. He knows what he's talking about. So what we've done is we actually focus on rational thinking, on logical thinking, and we don't think enough about what's going on in terms of our imagination and our unconscious mind. And when you realize these two minds, you use both minds together to make your goals happen. This is the reality of why people don't know how to set intrinsic motivation, how to create intrinsic motivation. They're working with the wrong mind. Your conscious mind is the goal setter, but your unconscious mind is what makes that goal happen. That's the goal getter. And to make that happen, you need to understand how you create your version of the world, how you create your internal representation, how you understand your reality, what we call my world experience. So your world experience is how you experience the world. Now I want you to think for a moment, how do you experience the world? You experience the world through your senses, okay? So you're going a little bit deeper here. So hopefully you come back and watch this section again. Hopefully I'm still with you here. How you experience the world is through your senses. And you have, what are your senses? You have 5 senses, okay? The first one is visual sense. The visual sense are your eyes. So you sense the world through your eyes. You see things or you imagine things. Okay. You also have the auditory sense. That's your sense of hearing. I hear things, or I recall hearing things, or I can imagine hearing things. In the future, what are people saying to you when you achieve your goals? So that has to do with your auditory sense. Your kinesthetic sense is about touch or feeling. That's things that I feel, or the emotions that I feel. Things I feel are tactile. I can feel this book. This feels soft. This phone, it's got a hard surface. That's a tactile feeling. But also the feelings I have inside of me, that's the emotions I feel when I think about my goals or think about these gremlins. There could be good feelings or bad feelings, good emotions or bad emotions. And they've got 2 other ones. Olfactory, which is smell. It's like the smell of a factory. It stinks. So that's your olfactory sense. It's the nose. Or gustatory. Gustatory, imagine cooking a big goose. So that's the way I remember it. It's taste. The taste of something. But these words, olfactory and gustatory, is not just food. It's also about something that leaves a smell. Like, God, that interview stinks. Or you say, that conversation left a bitter taste in my mouth. That'd be gustatory and olfactory phrases that have smells or tastes associated with them. So you have 5 senses. So how you experience your world, my world experience, you only experience it through these 5 different modalities, 5 different ways. But there's a 6th thing as well. I won't call it a 6th sense, but there's a 6th modality, which is called AD in the world of NLP. And AD stands for auditory digital. And auditory digital means how you make decisions, how you think about the 5 blue boxes. So this red box, auditory digital, is how you think about your experience, how you think about what you see, how you think about what you hear, how you think about what you touch or feel, how you think about what you smell, how you think about what you taste. In other words, when you think about it, it's what I say to myself about my experience. So your auditory digital is what creates the monkey mind, but also what creates that self-talk that motivates you when you know how to change the language of your monkey mind and make it into a positive reinforcement. But it's also how I make sense of the world. So what happens is when something happens to you, you say, oh my God, an event has happened. The power is out. The power goes out. And then what you say inside yourself, this means I won't have heat, I won't have food. And you start catastrophizing about all the things that's going on in your mind because of what's happened. Now, what's happened doesn't have meaning on it until you say something to yourself. This is important. So your map of the world, your world experience, actually gets changed as a result of what you say inside your head from your experience. So the blue boxes is pure experience. Things happen, right? Good things and bad things will all happen, always happen. What you say to yourself about those good things and bad things is how you make sense of the world. And if you control your thinking and you learn to reframe your thinking to think about the positive outcomes of things rather than always catastrophizing, you will have more positive thoughts, and that will create a more positive map of the world. And this is the difference that makes the difference for people in their thinking. The way it works is like something happens. Let's say the power goes out in your house. Okay, the information comes to you. You hear about it, you see it, you feel it, you notice all these things, and then inside your mind, you filter that information to create an internal representation, your model of what's happening. And part of that is what you say inside your head. So you say, oh no, all of these things are going to happen. But you could also say, oh wow, this is an opportunity to get closer to my family and figure things out. I have some downtime. We're not rushing around everywhere because normally I don't have time to do these things. So how you change your thinking is based on these filters in the middle. How you change your thinking is based on these filters and what you say to yourself inside your head. And that causes you to feel a certain way. If you catastrophize, you're going to feel bad. If you say this is an opportunity, you're going to feel good. And that actually creates your actions, and that creates your results. So when something happens in the world, it's not till you say to yourself, oh no, this is bad, or oh, this is an opportunity, that you end up taking action and results. So one of the reasons that people don't achieve their goals is because they catastrophize about what's happening and they worry about what's happening rather than focus on how they actually make the outcomes happen instead. And this is in a book called, it's also in a book called Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Try saying that when you're actually 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So he wrote this book many years ago on flow, and it's actually available on Audible. Now I have to say, the book is actually quite a heavy book to read, but it gives you this information. It gives you the insights about how the map of the world works, because he was studying optimal experience. He was working on modeling how do people achieve a state of flow. And what he found is when people don't have these obstacles, they're not focused on their obstacles, they've got compelling goals, then they get into a state of flow and they actually create actions, results, almost without thinking. If you've ever seen world-class athletes, they're not like stressing about the Olympics or the races they're in. They're in the zone. They're like totally spaced out and they're really focused on the outcome. They're picturing that last step. They're picturing crossing the winning line. And nothing else is in their mind. They're totally blank and they're just focusing on that outcome. And that's what gets the results. So what we're talking about is you have to focus on the outcome you want. Remember I said you need clarity. So what I want you to do is, if I said to you, don't think about it, but what are you thinking about right now? If I said to you, don't think about a blue tree. Don't think about a blue tree. What are you thinking about? A blue tree. So whether you want to think about the positive or negative, you're still thinking about the same thing. So you need to focus on the positive outcomes of what you want, not the negative outcomes that you're trying to get away from. Okay. So focus on what you want. Okay, so that's really the key things I want to talk about today. So I don't really want to go into much more detail today because we're running out of time, guys. So I just want to point you towards this slide here, which is when you set goals. I think this is on page 20. Let's see, 20, what is it? 18, page 18. The other thing is you need to set goals in all areas of your life. You can't just set a goal for business, because if your personal life sucks, that's going to impact your business. Right? If you're not focused on improving your mind and your personal development, that's going to affect your business. If your business is not going well, that's going to affect your health and fitness. It's going to affect your relationships and your family. So you want to set goals in each area of your life. Now, this is an example. I'm not saying you should set goals in all of these 8 areas, but you do need to ask the question, what's important in your life? Is it spirituality? Is it business? Is it family? Is it making money? Is it health and fitness? You decide what goes in these circles. And then in each one of these areas, you want to set a goal in each one of these areas, okay? And once you've done that, then you want to focus on pages 18 to 24, your goals. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to give you an opportunity over the next week, and I am on Facebook, not often, but I am Facebook if you want to message me. I want you to take some time now. We won't do any more because I think you're fully loaded at this stage. I want you to think about what are the goals you can set in each area of your life, and then I want you to take some time out of the next week and set one goal in each area of the life using the sections on 18 to 24. Okay, so 1824, walk through the process of working out your real rules for success, get your goals in each area of your life. And then what's the magic page where all the most important page? Page 22. Just realize you can't see me, so just go back here. Page 22. Page 22 is the most important page. You get to page 22, you've nearly finished the process. And that will really help you to get your goals clear and focused and compelling, so then you can set these goals for the year. Okay, because what that means is by the time this time next year comes, you'll have thought about what are the process, what's the systems you need to change, what do you need to change, what do you need to change in your thinking, what do you need to change in terms of your efficiency, your process, who do you need to work with, who do you want to be around. People often say to me, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So think about when you're scrolling on Facebook or watching YouTube, what are you watching? What are you putting into your mind? Because all of that impacts who you are and what you're doing. So you want to think about what your future could look like. What is this going to give you? Imagine you achieve just one goal in the next year. Just think for a moment. Let's say you set one big goal, let's say a goal in business, and you achieve that next year. What difference would it make to your life? What difference would it make to your personal health and fitness if you achieve that one goal this year? What would it mean for your energy if you achieve that one goal? What would it mean to your family and your relationships? What would it mean to your longevity? What would it mean in all aspects of life if you achieve this one goal? So please, guys, take this opportunity. Take this opportunity to apply what I've told you today. Go back and watch this again. Reach out to me on Facebook if you need help. And go through this process, because I promise you, people have used this process to create 6-figure businesses from starting out. They've created changes of careers. They've left jobs and set up new businesses as a direct result of actually following this process. This process works. The question is, will you make it work? Okay. So I wish you well on all of that, and I hope that you actually take the inspiration that I've given you today to create intrinsic motivation. I can motivate you today by telling you about how wonderful this is, but unless you do the work, you're not actually going to get the outcome. So I just want to help you to get there. So go through the manual, make sure you go through it. If you have any questions, let me know. Now, if you did find it interesting today, I do have a wee opportunity I want to talk to you about, and just talk about it very briefly. I won't hold you much longer. And the question is, where are we here? Let's do this one here. The question is, did you find today useful? Right? And if you did find it useful, are you interested in a potential possible next step in maybe working with me? Not a requirement, but if you are, I want to just tell you about something we've been doing for the last couple of months now, and we're having a lot of success with it. We have a small little mindset master group. We're launching the public in about 8 or 9 weeks, about 9 weeks time. But we've actually got a small number of toolboxers who are actually in the mastermind at the moment. It's an 8-week mastermind, and it's just for toolbox members. It's not open to the public yet, and will be open to the public in about 9 weeks. So we've got an 8-week window just for toolbox members, where if you'd like a little bit of support around 4 key areas: around your mindset, around motivation, around your language, that negative talk inside your head, how to improve that, and how to master things. We have a little mindset, which is Thursday every week for the next 8 weeks. It's Thursday 7 p.m. So if you're available Thursday 7 p.m., that would be great for the next 8 weeks. And after that, if you want to continue working with me, then we'll have it every second Thursday. And what you'll get in this mastermind for 8 weeks is you'll also get, there's a masterclass we did a couple of weeks ago where we spent a whole hour and a half going into more detail about the second part of this process, and the first part as well. Slightly different to this presentation, but we go into a lot more detail, and we actually do the visualization part as well, and the whole process, where if you don't want to do it yourself in isolation, you can actually go through that masterclass. And there's lots of other stuff I want to talk to you about as well. The other thing we're doing is a new thing. We're actually launching a mastermind audiobook. Now, this is very useful. Let me just get rid of that screen and move over to this one here. We're launching a mastermind audiobook. What do I mean by audiobook? Now, one of the things we found is that when people watch replays, sometimes it's kind of hard to watch a replay if you're in the van, if you're driving around, or if you're just chilling out. But most people like to get some downtime to listen to audiobooks, such as you're going to the gym and you want to put something on in your head. Or you're, let's say, sitting in the van and you don't listen to the radio, or you put an audiobook on. Or maybe you're you're just out for a walk with the dog and you just have your headphones on, you're listening to something. And what I've found is, from talking to our toolboxers that are already in the mastermind, that they love audiobooks, but they find it difficult to watch replays on video. So what we've done is, with the help of AI, I've built a system with AI, right, to literally just take the videos from recordings like this and turn them into audiobooks that get published. And we've got a special app you can download, which means if you go back into the audiobook and listen to the Mind Mastery audiobook, every week the next chapter gets added to it. So you can skip chapters, and if you go away and come back, it continues where you left off, just like Audible. So it's kind of like a private version of Audible. And what it means is that you don't have to worry about replays. All you do is go into the app, press play, and then you can catch up on the last replay. And I love this. I'm using myself to listen to old recordings I've done in my own trainings, and I listen to it all the time, and I absolutely love it. So we're going to bring this in to our little wee mastermind as well. So you also get access to that app, so that you can actually the app is free, but obviously the audiobook content is what we're going to be creating for you in this mastermind as well. So if you're interested in that little bit of information, a little bit of support, we've got 8-week mastermind, and really the focus is weekly focus on your goals and your obstacles. Remember, the obstacles are the problems. We can set compelling goals, but we need to get rid of the obstacles. So that's on WhatsApp. We've got 8 spaces available only, and where you're going to get direct personal feedback on your goals and on your obstacles, and we'll do little mini breakthroughs to help you actually overcome those obstacles. So for the next 8 weeks, every person gets one hot seat, which you'll be the focus of attention for one whole session. It'll be all about you and understanding your goals, get clear on that goals, modify that goal, and also to identify the obstacles. And we also do personal group feedback, what I call micro lessons, where we'll take little bit like we saw today, small segments for about 15-20 minutes, where we'd go into detail about certain aspects of your mind, about mindset, motivation, messaging, and mastery, to help you aim higher. And then after the 8 weeks, then it just becomes a continuity program, which means if you want to leave after 8 weeks, that's fine after 2 months. But then after 8 weeks, every 2 weeks, we'll actually check in. This is some feedback from one of the people who's in the mastermind. He said, being a small business owner, I've come to realize that if you want to improve your business, you have to improve yourself. Totally agree. Hearing about subjects like NLP to improve your mindset and remove blockages that you have from your past that are holding you back from reaching your true potential was something that was interesting for me. I met Michal at a marketing event for a local tradesman. It was actually one of the masterminds. The masterminds, I think it was the one in Kent, I believe. No, it wasn't. The one in New York, I believe. I met Darren. So I met Michal at this marketing event, and I could see the value of the presentation on mindset mastery class, and I accepted his offer to join the course. Only after a few calls, we're working on things like values, your goal setting, how you have thoughts about things in the past that could cause limiting beliefs, the language we use in our self-talk, the 2 types of motivation, we talked about them today a little bit, about the importance of being curious, about time and money abundance, and it has made me more resilient. I feel happier and feel in more control of my business and my life. And that's what you can expect to see as a result of being in the group, especially after the 8 weeks, when we actually go deeper into reinforcing these goals and removing these obstacles. So if you are interested in that, we're launching this for £97 a month, but for the toolboxers only, and it's only a 2-month commitment. So every week for 8 weeks, and after that, if you want to stay, great. If you don't, that's fine. It's £47 per month, and that £47 per month is a 2-month commitment for about 90, less than 100 quid. And if you are interested in that, guys, there's the link there. I just dropped that in chat. Did that work? That didn't work. Let me try that again. Copy that. Why is paste not working? Let me get the paste. Let me just flip to my camera here and get out of this screen here, and I can see if I can get that to type in there. There we go. That's the link, guys. There's only 8 seats. As I say, I'm very working in small groups. So that's it there. Let me just bring it back up on the screen again so you can see it. Okay, and So it's £47 a month for 2 months. So it's less than £100 commitment. What's my question for you is, what are your goals worth? What is it worth for you to achieve your goals? Is it worth £100 to make your goals achieved for the month? If it is, then consider joining the group. Some questions you may have. I don't know if you have any questions. If any questions in the chat, feel free to type them in now while I'm going through a couple of these questions. So questions I have for you, as you think about questions you have for me, is that, did you get value from today? Did you learn some new things today? If you did, please type yes in chat. It will actually help me to know that I'm actually on track here. I'm actually providing value for you guys, as I try to do in all my presentations. And do you want to learn more about this? Do you want to learn more about the mindset? Maybe you haven't thought about mindset before. Maybe it's a new topic for you, saying, actually, you know, as I think about it, negative thinking is something that gets in the way sometimes. Or maybe I've got really positive thinking, but I want to learn how to utilize it more. Yeah. So if you want to learn more about this, then you got more value from this. I do hope that you actually reach out to me. Even if just ask me questions about the goal setting journal, send me a direct message on Facebook, and I'll get back to you and let you know what else you can do. Do you want to get feedback on your goals? If you're interested in getting feedback on your goals, then let me know. Join the mastermind for a couple of weeks, and maybe you'll get some, maybe that one session you get, that one hot seat, will be enough to take that next step forward, to actually create the goals you want to create, to get manifest and make it happen. And the question for you, do you want to aim higher? Remember, aim for me is about ambition, impact, and mastery. That is literally the cover on my YouTube channel. It's what I always focus on when I talk to people. How do you have more ambition? How do you have more impact? And how do you master what you do? Right, I'm always trying to master things. I'm trying to master my studio at the moment, which is one of the reasons why I was a little bit late this morning. I haven't quite mastered in getting there. I hope you do like my studio, by the way. Are you the biggest block to your own success? That's the question that I had to ask myself when I actually committed to doing all of the NLP training that I did back in 2002, 3, 4, and before I launched my own training company in 2005. So are you the biggest block of your own success, and do you want to master your mindset? If you do, I'd like you to consider the mastermind. No commitment, of course, beyond the 2 months. And what we do is, as I say, this is for Toolbox members only. I certainly wouldn't offer this to the public. And again, this is mostly experimental. I want to know what you want us to focus on, what you want help with. It's 8 weeks. It's Thursday at 7 o'clock. It's just about an hour and a half every Thursday. Everybody gets a hot seat. And if we have less than 8 people there, then people might actually get 2 hot seats. So if there's only 4 people there, you'll all get 2 hot seats for the 2 months. And after that, we go into a bi-weekly catch up. And that is the little mastermind we've got. So we're talking about mindset, motivation, messaging, mastery. Thursday, 7 p.m. for 8 weeks. It's a very small commitment. You get the book as well, and you get the actual masterclass on the present to your future. And you also get the new audiobook I was telling you about. And that's really it. I hope you found it useful, guys. Thanks for the comments. People said they enjoyed it, got some value from it. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Yasser. Thank you, Stephen. Stephen Oakley. Thank you, Glenn. Thanks, everybody, for participating and being part of this today. And I just want to say thank you very much to James as well, and wish him all the best. I hopefully be back in swinging form very quickly. So he asked me if I'd come in and just cover for this week. He's delighted to do so. Always delighted to help everybody achieve more, especially the toolboxers. I have a lot of time for James, a lot of time for Steve, everybody who's actually in the toolboxers. Guys, you've got an amazing community here. You do not realize the value that's in the toolbox community. I hope that you're taking advantage of it and that you have a wonderful week. That's all from now, guys. Grab that offer if you want it, and if you don't, you can reach out to me on Facebook. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed week, and we'll speak to you all very soon. That's all for now, guys. Take care. Bye for now.